Hello, my name is Grumpy. Grumpy Eye. Grumpy Eye. Grumpy Eye.
You know what? I'm just gonna play this, and then we're gonna play some Star Citizen. I just want to react to this, honestly.
Okay, the title is...
I know that his like music, his intro music is his own from his band, but I'm gonna see if I'm gonna get a copyright strike.
Okay, the title is a bit more clickbaity than I usually like, but you're here now, and I'm glad you are, because I think we just got to talk about something, and that's modularity. Let me just say that if modularity works and is implemented well, I think it could be one of the best low-key, didn't know you needed it so much until you had it features of the game.
Yes.
But that's a big if with an awful lot of unknown ground to cover. What I'm not so worried about personally is just the fact that there's more concept ships. This doesn't worry me too much, although I can understand why it might be a bit frustrating considering there's already a bunch of concepts in the pipeline. But I'm going to go through both of these.
So first of all, these are his thoughts. He is entitled to his own opinion, so do not attack him. Because the backlog, like, it's completely okay that he does not care about the backlog at all.
Topics, so if this sounds good to you, then grab yourself a cup of tea while I roll the intro, and then let's get into it.
So this is his music from him and his band, I think. You're more than welcome, man. I get something out of your videos. It makes my day to listen to you after a crappy day at work. Thank you, again. I don't know what else to say, honestly. Modular ship was a pledge promise. What do you mean?
So the RSI Galaxy has been teased in ISC, and I have to admit it does look fantastic to me. A friend of mine who's a little on the piracy side instantly sent me over this picture of the ship scooping those saddlebags off a prospector for refining, and yeah, I've got to admit, it does seem right up my street. But I'm actually glad that this ship got a feature in ISC a good 2 days before it goes on sale, because for now at least, my bank balance is safe. Whatever price the Galaxy comes in at later today, I've decided already.
Ben, I don't remember Ben, but Black Dream said when Ben was around, Ben stated that Star Citizen ships would be modular. I mean, at what sense? Yes, they were talking about modularity, but like the modularity, like the interior is going to be customizable like the 300i, where you can like buy different stuff because yeah, you gotta spend your money to get like I don't know, a stereo or like a microwave inside your ship. But then they said stretch goals promise modularity. Shit, okay, let's see that. But also they promised that what's it called? They didn't. No. They promised that we will have like that kind of customizability, so not modularity. But then they said that it doesn't scale, and that they're ditching that whole thing, and they're not going to do that anymore because it worked for the 300 series, and after that they realized that it just doesn't scale, whatever the fuck that means. And no, like you will not be able to customize your ships in that way. The only way that you can customize your ship is with PES. You will like toss a bunch of shit around the place and you will have it there basically. And if the area too cluttered is not a thing anymore, like if they take it out, which I don't think they will, because still like physics engine is the problem, because the server is gonna die if there's a ton of fucking things laying around and just colliding with each other, and the server tick rate is already fucking 4 to 12 max. So you will have like customizability in that sense, but modularity is another thing. But yeah, let me try and open the stretch goals. We're gonna watch this.
It's not for me. The reason for that reticence on whether or not to even get excited about this ship, both from a long-term gameplay theory crafting perspective and from the view of a potential buyer, is the ship's proposed use of modules.
Hey,
The
Sport.
ship team outlined 3 modules that can be switched out on the Galaxy that give the ability to act as a refinery for mining and I assume salvage operations, as a more advanced medical support ship, and as a cargo hauler. On the surface, this is a brilliant idea and great for players. Personally, I wish that more ships in the SC universe were modular. It always felt a little bit weird to me that slight variations on a theme within the same chassis line got released as an entirely independent model. Let's take the
Ben
Cutlass
Lesnick.
series
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Jake,
I know.
for example. The black, red, blue, and
So this is a really good point that I didn't want to make in my videos because, I mean, it's obvious, but also I'm so negative, I'm overly negative at all times, etc., etc. So I didn't want to get attacked by fucking people that don't understand this whole concept. If you have a Cutlass Black, you should be able to buy modules like for the Cutlass Blue, for the Cutlass Red, for the Cutlass Steel, because basically the backside of it is the only thing that changes. On the blue version, you get a different cockpit. Like the canopy is basically like bubbled. Like it's a bubble canopy, like in a Spitfire, for example, or in a F-16, which is nice. But other than that, it's basically the same ship. So why is it not modular? For example, you have the Ares Ion and Inferno. Like, we already have that kind of modularity where you can change your weapons in the game. Why didn't they make it so you can change the main gun? Because that's the only difference between the Ion and the Inferno.
internal shudder, steel, are on the same chassis, just with a different utilization of the interior and some minor exterior changes.
Thank you.
So if
Atlas.
I've decided that I'm a hardcore Cutlass till I die type,
How many modular ships have been released? How many have been sold? That should tell you something.
So, first of all, thank you. Secondly, how many modular ships have been released? As far as I know, the Caterpillar, the Carrack, and the Retaliator. How many have been sold? Well, how many copies? I can't tell you that. That should tell you something. Well, the issue is you have a bunch of the issue is the whole fucking game. Honestly, the issue is the whole fucking game and CAG's marketing and their mismanagement of the whole project. That's the main issue. The issue is that they're working on fucking Squadron 42, which we cannot see, which we cannot interact with. We have no idea, and we're paying for Star Citizen and for ships in Star Citizen while playing the same patch for a year. And having basically no content, having no new features, having no whatever. So that's the issue. Like, they really can't, there's no point in them making modules, even if the guys that were working on server meshing were not working on, we're not supposed to work on modules, right? So that's what John Cruz said, that they cannot. I have it in my last video. They said that they cannot make modules for ships because those guys are working with server meshing. Whatever. It's like I don't really understand why are they the same people, because like server meshing people should be like network engineers, and modularity in the game is like a game dev stuff. Like I don't fucking know. But what's the point in having modules? If like the only module that you can get right now with the Galaxy, even if they like, imagine they released the Galaxy right now, the only module that you could get was would be the cargo module and the medical module. So, for example, the Carrack is supposed to be much more modular than the the Galaxy. So it's basically a small version of the Endeavor, right? And with the Endeavor, let's look at the modules for a second. I wanted to react to Loudgun's video, but yeah, we're going to come back to that. So Biodome pod, this is for farming. We do not have farming. Fucking particle collider. What? So this is going to be used somewhere, somehow, and at some point in the future of a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away. This is going to be used for like enhancing your ship stats, your weapons, etc., etc., etc. This is going to be used for like having more crew, basically. This is for fuel for yourself and for refueling other other ships. Landing pods. This is going to be used for like size 2 because the Endeavor itself. Let me find it. No, actually here. The Endeavor itself has like 2 little landing pads here that it can use. But if you use that thing, where were we? If you use that thing, you will be able to like land Kari-sized ship inside the hangar, right? And then you have the medical pod. Okay, we have medical gameplay. You have the research pod. We do not have research gameplay. Like, what is science? And like science is not the same as research, because like research is maybe going to be engineering, maybe it's going to be something else. The telescope pod is going to be for exploration. We don't have that. So what's the point in them making like why would we have modularity in our ships? Best history lessons from PI. So why would we have that like modularity in our ships if, or like maybe they can make the ship, maybe they can make it modular, and then you will get the biodome pods, and then you're gonna have like grass growing and plants growing, and you cannot interact with them. So like there's no point. Maybe you're gonna get, basically if you go into your Carrack and you go into the drone bay, or you go into the engineering bay, or wherever you fix your stuff, you will see like it looks nice, great, but it's like you cannot interact with it, and the only thing that you can like do there is just like be there and be fucking depressed because it does not work, and like you spend a lot of money to buy that ship. So I understand that like I can understand why they didn't pursue modularity. But also, I don't understand why they're announcing even more modular ships when we have the Caterpillar, when we have the Carrack, and when we have the fucking Retaliator. So that completely beats me. But let's get back to the video. And I'm sorry, Logons.
The black, red, blue, and internal shudder, steel, are on the same chassis, just with a different utilization of the interior and some minor exterior changes. So if I've decided that I'm a hardcore Cutlass till I die type, then
I gotta jump in again. The Cutlass is not a freelancer. The freelancer Max, and I know that you didn't say particle collider. Yeah, we're gonna have a particle collider. But freelancer, Miss, Dur, Max, and the base freelancer, they're all different, and they cannot be modular because they're all completely different, like exterior wise. They're one of them is bigger, one of them is smaller, etc., etc., etc. And it's completely understandable that the freelancer cannot be modular, but these 4 fuckers are the same. They're like completely the same outside. What's it called? The blue has a bubble canopy, and this thing has turrets in the back, and that's it. Why are these not modules?
Then to get the 4 game loops in the vehicle I have to buy a Cutlass chassis 4 times. And why does an Avenger fan have to buy the chassis, components, and weapons 3 times just in order to change what's in the trunk? At least the Cutty red and blue get a paint job and some extra flashy lights. The Galaxy, on the other hand, like every other modular ship, does something which I think is really healthy. It allows players to buy for cash or for in-game currency once it releases. This isn't just about why I'm not excited to buy one for USD yet. One hull. Much like a Swiss Army knife, this should allow you to set out with one tool and tackle a variety of game loops. This matters from a cost perspective, not only in terms of buying the ship for credits or cash, but also in terms of equipping and maintaining it in the long term. We know there are going to be overheads to factor in within the game, insurance being just one, and wouldn't it be better to buy just the one super fast QT drive rather than 3 of them for your different variants? Not only is this
Knight Rider CAG is in the building, but also you're out of character. Can't have a quadruple A game without quadruple A staff. I prevent most data running. I love you, dude. I really love you.
This potentially more practical and more cost-effective, but it also allows for something a little less tangible. It encourages players and their crews to gel more with their ship, and put more millions of kilometers on the dial with it.
Yes!
I know I'm not the most RP guy out there, but even I enjoy that feeling of immersion. And there's something about SC with the full beautifully designed ship interiors that gives you the feeling that one day you could live out some of your sci-fi fantasies with your mates.
Yes. And the only game that I got that with was Space Engineers. Because in Space Engineers, you will build your ships and then you will just like add onto them, or just like completely dissolve them so you can get the resources back, and then build bigger and bigger ships. And in the end, you will have like a capital size ship where you would make room inside of it and do stuff inside of it. Like as you proceed and as you like encounter new things, you get to a point that like, yeah, I need a new refinery. Yes, I need more hydrogen tanks. I need blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna do some modifications to it, or I'm gonna have some module inside of it. But that's still the same ship, and you get attached to it, and like that's amazing. And having that in this game would be amazing. And then you would just need like a Galaxy or a Carrack, and you would not need anything else. But yeah, Imperial Galactic Survival 2. I tried playing that game, but I didn't really dig it for some reason. I don't know why. It was just weird.
And what does Star Trek, The Expanse, Firefly, Alien, etc., etc. all have in common?
Guys, what would happen if I gave Knight Rider CAG the moderation tools in the chat here? That would be amazing. Hey, Eduardo. So let's listen to Lowguns.
Gives you the feeling that one day you could live out some of your sci-fi fantasies with your mates. And what does Star Trek, The Expanse, Firefly, Alien, etc., etc. all have in common? The ship. Singular. The characters are tied together by their ship. They don't go and park the Enterprise and go get something a bit heavier out of the space station to go up against the Klingons. Han and Chewie don't switch the Millennium Falcon for something more niche when it was called for.
And this is a really good point, and that's why I love Lowguns, because this is a really good point. You should be attached to your ship. Your ship should be your home away from home. Your ship should be something like a thing that like does more than just a single game loop. For example, you have the Prospector. Sure, it does mining, and then what you're gonna do when you have your tanks filled up? Like, yes, it does have like a bed where you can log off, but why would you do that? Honestly, why would you do that? Because like, you can just mine your Contanium and come back, and that's it, and then hop into another ship, or maybe get like an Expanse, and then like transfer the in the future, of course, and then get like sorry about that. Get those like saddlebags inside the Expanse, refine it, and then ditch the Prospector. But like, you still need to hop between the ships, and I'm pretty sure that like Lowguns and his org have a bunch of Orions, and that like because they're miners like mostly, and I'm pretty sure that they are gonna live on that Orion, and that they're really excited to get that Orion, because that Orion is gonna refine and mine at the same time. And then you're gonna have like maybe a Hull E come along, pick the SU up, like all the refined ore, and they're just gonna stay there, and that's really good. But with the rest of the ships, you have a ship per thing that it does. You have an Ion, sure, it's a fighter. You have a Constellation, it's gonna do a bunch of stuff, but it's not gonna do anything really good. It can do salvage, it can do nothing inside of it. You can go get a Carrack, and then like once you get to the Carrack prices, then you get like Modularity or Galaxy. You then get to the Modularity, and then you can say, well, yes, I can do this, and this in my ship, and I only need a single ship. But let's continue.
Made their ship work.
You have 11 Orions minimum. Yeah, I know that you have like 12 what's it called, javelins or something like that. I know.
For whatever it was they were doing. So wait, I hear you ask. You love modularity, but you're not excited about the Galaxy because of modularity. Make some sense loud or I'm going to switch off. So the problem as I see it is quite a simple one. I can't get hyped up about modularity yet because there are too many massive gaps in the information. We've got quite a long list of ships where key selling points are focused around modularity. The Carrack, the Endeavour, the Caterpillar, the Apollo, the Retaliator, even the Hornet as I was reminded earlier this week in Discord. But we don't know very much about how CIG envisage modularity working in the game. Will we need to visit an in-game location like a shipyard to change out modules?
Probably.
So how common are
We're
these
probably
locations?
going to have to go to like Cousin Crows or something like that, and then we can like swap modules there.
Going to be? Will there be a way to refit on the move with the help of other ships? What sort of time will it take to change out a module? Are we talking minutes, hours, days? Take to change out a module? Are we talking minutes, hours, days? Can we transport modules using cargo ships? Will modules be insured and are they going to be easily
Night Rider, you're
replaced?
killing me.
I'd imagine there could be more questions that could be asked here, and I understand that CIG's answers right this second are unlikely to be anywhere near definitive. I don't expect them to have full intricately crafted game systems yet, but I do think that if we're meant to speculate on the potential value of one modular ship over multiple dedicated ones, then I personally need at least some guidance to act as my inputs. In ISC, Mark Gibson hinted that the designers are getting close to being able to implement modularity, so I really hope that some questions around it get asked and answered as part of the RSI Galaxy Q&A, because I do think these are critical, not only for this particular ship, but also for a host of others that we're waiting on. And part of that is down to us as a community. Only a limited amount of questions get answered as a part of a Q&A, and it's a little bit perplexing when a number of them that do could easily have their answers copy-pasted from ship brochures and ISCs.
Yeah.
One of the best Q&As recently was the Cargo Refactor one, and honestly, hats off to Dobbs and co for asking well thought out questions that hadn't been answered anywhere else, and then brigading them to the top of the pile for us all to benefit from. But also it's on CIG themselves. We lack a way to downvote on Spectrum, so questions where the answers are already in the public realm can't be filtered out easily.
Night Rider, are you gonna ban Lowguns now because he's talking about moderation?
Maybe those responding could leave a quick copy-paste comment that the info is already available and just move on. Better still though would be seeing some modularity in action in the verse. During the ISC episode Physician Admission from August 2021, the team showed off some of their work that they'd been doing on the Retaliators modules. And even if it's just one relatively small ship like the Retaliator, a working example that can be iterated on while the game's in testing that can give us some idea of how modular ships are going to work going forward would help to act as a proof of concept for backers. Much like the 890 Jump and the Carrack work in the same way to prove that big ships can exist. I hope that goes some way to explaining why I personally won't be tempted to get my wallet out for an RSI Galaxy this afternoon. But just before
Like, even Lowguns is not gonna buy... I guess he's organ, like, you probably have 50 Galaxies right now, right?
I let you go about your day, and some of you to buy one anyway, I'd just like to chuck my 2 pennies in on a topic that I've seen a number of other
Exactly, Atlas. Liberator will be more useful than these ships. You can put several small single-purpose ships on it. So the Liberator, if you don't know it, let me show it to you for a second. This is the lib. You can put like 3 small-sized ships, so 3 prospectors, Vulture, a prospector, and an Expanse, for example, and then you have interior space. You have 400 SCUs of cargo capacity inside of it, but also if you do not fill the whole interior hangar or the vehicle bay, you will have at least like, I don't know, 2,000 SU space, but it's not going to be locked in. So this thing is going to be amazing for orc play and for, let me just open it like this. It's going to be amazing for orc play and for like deep space exploration and mining and all of that, or salvage, because you will be able to mine, refine, and salvage on the spot, and then place all the cargo, all the refined cargo into the Liberator and land, log off, continue, be there for a couple of days, fill the Liberator up, go back, sell all the goods, and make a fortune. So that's why the Liberator is going to be really good. at some point once we get it. I don't see this ship being delayed more. I mean, they're not even fucking working on it right now, as far as I know. But honestly, I think that this ship is going to be released with 4.0 or with Pyro, or maybe like a bit after that, I guess, because it's going to be really good for Pyro and for Orcplay. And I'm like, this is one of the ships that I'm really excited about, honestly. But let's continue.
See content creators worrying about these last couple of days. The idea that
the only thing that the Liberator does need is a medical bay, and that's it.
CIG shouldn't be selling concept ships at all because there are so many ships in backlog. I'm sure you've already watched some of the same videos. I don't expect monogamy from you in this relationship. But just in case I am your one and only, the TLDR version of the issue is, Dear CIG, please finish what's on your plate before you go back for more. My numbers might be a tiny bit off, so if they are, either forgive me or correct me in the comments, ideally both. But by my count, there were 171 ships in Star Citizen coming into IAE. And if we add the Drake Cutter, Anvil Pisces C8R, and now the RSI Galaxy, we're at 174. 38 of these ships, including the Galaxy, are yet to be flyable. So when you already had 37 bits of work to complete, why did you add 3 more and finish 2 of them before you finished something that people had been waiting on for potentially years? And with news of the Banu Merchantman getting put on hold, why are you releasing more big ships like the Galaxy? The slightly cynical, but of course to some extent true answer why is, of course, capitalism. CIG have to keep raising money to keep making the game. But why am I personally not mad about this? Why am I not worried that SC will never...
But here's the thing. So, Laugans is completely right here. But also, there are a bunch of comments of a bunch of people that are saying that they would invest more money into this game if they saw more game loops. Not even like bug fixes, but game loops, more features that would make you buy more ships. So Knight Rider, baseless claims. So please go tell your people what we said here. So if CEG released salvage and then salvage tier 2 with the hull munching mechanics and all that, and then added the, I don't know, data running with 4.0 with Pyro, and then added science or engineering, etc., etc., etc. If we would get like those features in a span of like 2 years, CAG will get more money because more people will be more interested into buying new ships, like even smaller ships or bigger ships, because they will be able to use them. But just making concept ships with concept prices, that's cool. Having loaner ships for them, that's also cool. But they are too expensive, and they are just like pushing that fucking FOMO down your throat, and then you get it, and then you're like, it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years, it's been 2 years, it doesn't matter, and my ship is still not here, and I want my ship. And that's why people are pissed off. And why would you get that ship? Because like you want it, because you paid for it, because you want, like, behind those comments, the main thing that is hiding behind those comments is that people want more from this game. The people want more features. It's not about the ships. It's about gameplay. It's about having more stuff to do in the fucking game, which we don't have right now. Like, I've been playing for 2.5 years now. I didn't see any changes, honestly. The only change that we got is the medical gameplay. The only like big feature that we got. The rest of it was like just reworks, and that's it. And those reworks are going to get reworked. So yeah.
Why am I personally not mad about this? Why am I not worried that SC will never release because of this backlog of ships? And just before anyone says it's because I was smart and followed my own advice and only own a starter pack, I do own a couple of concepts, so it's not Schadenfreude. Sorry.
A couple? Loud. a couple.
German friends for that. That was probably terrible pronunciation. I think it's because I don't think every ship needs to be out for the game to go to a version 1.0. Right now, ships are not holding back Star Citizen's progression. The transition of ships through the pipeline...
Star Citizen's progression is holding back Star Citizen's progression.
Not holding back Star Citizen's progression. The transition of ships through the pipeline is not the bottleneck. And ships, while they are great to look at and are strong...
Dude, like Knight Rider hopped into the fucking chat and like nobody's watching my stream. All of you are just talking to Knight Rider. Fucking amazing.
...element of content are not the game. The game is the core tech, like server meshing, it's the economy systems like Quanta, it's gameplay loops like piracy and salvage, it's AI and NPCs, it's other content like new systems to explore and new materials to mine. It would of course always be nicer for everything to go a bit faster. There's some understandable frustration that Squadron 42, a game that a big slice of us are not that interested in, is taking priority over the MMOPU that we did come for. But I personally see enough progress and content coming online to keep me interested in this project. If SC has a long pipeline of ships, that's not a bad thing really. For my sins, one of my favourite games for the last 13 years has been League of Legends. I started playing in the beta, and when the game went live in 2009, it had...
Isn't like League of Legends like known for having a toxic community? I mean, most of the games are like that. Never mind.
40 champions. How is it?
I just can't see Loud Guns because he's a sweetheart. I can't see him playing with like surrounded by toxic people. Like
and
that.
Continued to be popular. Well, one, they kept adding content in the form of new champions, and they're now on more than 140. But secondly, objectively, they made a really good game. I'm not saying it has to be your cup of tea, but a game that still has 150 million monthly players, a huge esports scene, and equal parts makes you want to hug and murder your best mates must be doing something right. So over time, as core tech and systems in StarCit are fleshed out, it's going to be over to other teams to carry more of the weight for the game. The continuous development and creation of new content is going to become more important as other bottlenecks to the game's success are removed.
Thank you for joining us.
At the point when content is carrying the weight and when funding is more secure than the model we have today, surely CIG will look to increase the size of the ship teams, bringing more designers and artists in to complete the backlog and work on new ships and features to continue expanding the verse. I think maybe the issue I have with the argument being made is that it extrapolates a linear progression of ship development and a single statement from John Crew about cap ships taking a year to make.
Yeah.
None of that accounts for CIG's ability to be dynamic when it comes to team sizing, and it also doesn't allow for the fact that ships are built with shared assets. So even seemingly tiny elements like the lever system on the lift of the Corsair can cut time off a huge project like the Kraken as you recycle them.
And this is a really good point because, they're gonna recycle those assets for other ships. For example, like he said, for the Kraken, they're probably gonna use. I just woke up from the post-dinner coma. Well, thank you for joining us, Loud. They're probably going to use those assets on other ships, which is good, which is cool, but also... like, from my point of view, it's not, as I've said, because Loud just joined, as I've said, it's not the issue that we are not getting our Krakens, we're not getting our whatevers. The issue is that there's no point in having Krakens, there's no point in having the Galaxy, there's no point in having big ships because we do not have all the features, we do not have the gameplay loops, etc. And we need more progress in the game itself.
I hope this was
it's a great video
and wasn't too much of a rant and ramble. If you think I earned it, then consider dropping a like and subscribe for more things SC. And never forget, amongst all this
I'm not subscribed
for cash, that you just don't need to get into the fleet building side of Star Citizen. The smartest folks in the room are those with a starter ship and nothing else in their hangar. And if you're scratching your head watching from the sidelines because you haven't jumped into SC, then I can wholeheartedly recommend that you take advantage of the free fly to see if you enjoy the game. And just work out whether it's for you in its current state as it is now. And then I can also recommend a Drake Cutter, which is currently $45 as a game pack.
Drake Cutter is the best fucking ship in the game right now, hands down. Like, prove me wrong. Maybe the price is maybe a bit better because bedlogging doesn't really work that good. But the thing is that you can interact with like almost 100% of the interior of the cutter and the Pisces. You can't do anything with the modules. You can't do modules with the power plants and all of that. You still can't do anything with it, but you can interact with it. And it's small, it serves a purpose, and it's amazing.
One of the best routes into the game, and it's 100% complete and usable today. Take a look at my starter ship guide, which I'll link in the vid description for a full rundown of what you could choose from.
Is that still a thing, Loud? I don't know, honestly. I'm never like asking people to click on the bell icon.
If you do decide to create an account, just make sure you use a referral code. Mine's the one up on screen, but if you've got 8 friends who play, please use theirs. And with all that said, thank you very much for watching all the way to the end, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for your video, Loud. As I've said, it's an amazing video, and yeah, I'm gonna link it for you guys. I'm probably gonna make a separate video of this reaction and me rambling over it for the channel. But yeah, the best thing that Loud said here is like, why not make ships that you get attached to? You as a person, you as a player, you get attached to your ship. And for me, I hope that the Misk, what's it called? Misk Odyssey is going to be that for me. Because it has a ton of space inside of it, and you can toss a lot of stuff inside of it and just like drop it and leave it there. And you will know where it is with PES and all of that. You will know where it is for like the future when you need it, etc. Maybe the Carrack is going to be that after the rework and after like we get the modules. But the issue is none of the ships except maybe the cutter, honestly, feel like that. The cutter's only issue, like I would love the cutter to have modularity in that sense that it can maybe instead of the guns maybe use like a salvage beam and fill those like 2 SUs up, and that's it. It's not much, but it's a starter ship. Or maybe use it for rock, like instead of rock mining, go with the cutter and just have an attachment and use that because it's a starter ship. Or like a ship like that could be modular, but like it's industrial and it can do other stuff except just being there and being an empty shell. So yeah, it's a great video and I love it.